This is Meet the Owner, where business stories come to life with your host, Steven Dryden-Hall. Let's go, people.
Welcome to Boom 7, Meet the Owner. We think this is number 5 podcast. We have so much fun, we don't actually remember the number, but we've got Chris here from Climb Quest. It's in Kingston, in Milton Keynes, and we met a few years ago. And I think the last time, maybe it's not the last time I've seen you, Chris, but we was at Pink Punters, and you just got to Milton Keynes. So, what's your views on that nightclub? Because that was like your first experience.
Yeah, that was a very memorable night. That was. So thanks for being on for inviting me on the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was a cracking night. That was end of 2021, wasn't it?
It was.
And Food and Leisure Awards after that, and I think it was it was the first big night probably everybody in the room had since.
You black tie, weren't you?
Yeah, black tie. And we were in for the Best Leisure Awards. We lost out. We made the final, but lost out to the go-karters. But it was a really positive night because it felt like the whole room. I mean, lots of people were affected by COVID, but I think leisure and hospitality was, in their own way, really was. So it was a kind of sense of celebration that we're out of this horrendous experience. So really enjoyed that night. Paul, one of our centre managers, recently found out his partner's pregnant, so he was very excited.
Oh, wow.
So we were buzzing. We went to Pink's, and of course, the guy in his mid-40s going to nightclubs is always a treat.
You're calling it Pink's, like you are
is
well
okay.
now.
Yeah,
this is kind of embedded into the city. This is good.
Yeah, no, I remember it. And we were downing shots at the bar. So yeah.
Fantastic.
So you were egging me on. So
I think we were as well.
Yeah.
You look smart. When we first met, the first thing I noticed about you was you like to talk, but you also had the maddest socks on. And this morning I was like,
Mad socks,
I wonder
right,
if Chris is going to turn up with something loud and proud.
Yeah.
And your trainers, you can't see them, are super loud, and your jacket as well. What jacket's that?
The shoes. Okay. Oh yeah, these are quite
we've got
Larry ones, aren't they? Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Well,
and the socks.
One of my weaknesses is trainers. So I love trainers. So having a climbing, I guess a leisure business, I can wear trainers every day. So
yeah, I love that.
I've had to temper myself down a bit. So I was buying a pair a month. So I've got about 40 pairs now.
40 pairs of trainers.
Often pretty Larry. So the girls got two. Beth, my wife, who run the business with, and 2 daughters. They've got 3 racks of shoes. I've got 4. So I've had to slow down a bit. But these ones are my. They was actually over COVID. I didn't buy any shoes because I thought, right, I've got to sort of calm down on those, and these are my post-COVID treats, so they're customised Nike ones.
Question on trainers, right? Yeah. So I know this is not about trainers, but do you love the smell of a new trainer? Like, they don't smell the same as they used to.
No.
Do you love the smell?
I do, yeah, no, very, very much so. But I'm all go for ones that are as Larry as possible.
You do?
So, bright. Pink's my favourite colour, so that always attracts me, and I think they're it's a treat to be able to wear them in the business I do now, because my previous business was more of a business-to-business marketing company, so sensible shoes, and I could wear mad socks. That was my that was what I could get away at the time.
Yes.
And then the jacket, my best mate bought me a couple of years ago. It's apparently it's a now defunct French American football team.
Oh, there you go. Amazing. So let's talk about business. So
sure.
Just tell the listeners what your business is in Kingston, because I can try and explain it. Climbing walls. A slide that you drop down in, but just tell the audience what it is.
Sure.
Because a lot of people might not have heard of it. We always think that everyone knows about our business, and what age range is it for?
You're very right. So so Climb Quest, we describe it as a climbing centre meets theme park. So yes, it's got climbing walls, but there's over 20 of them. They're all different colours, different shapes, different textures. Some light up, some turn round when you're climbing. They've all got different names. So that's the kind of theme park side.
I didn't know that.
You've got Orbital, Big Cheese, Detonator.
Did you come up with the names?
No, I didn't know. It's quite an interesting story how it came about. So it was designed over in New Zealand, the walls.
Kiwis.
It was by quite a big character, Northern Irish expat over there, and he actually invented or popularised a thing called an auto belay. And that's when instead of the traditional way of climbing, as you climb up a wall, you then somebody feeds the rope down as you abseil down. Yes. To be able to have a climbing facility, you either need to be competent and skilled as an amateur, or you need to have, say, a group of kids. You'd have to have maybe 2 walls, 2 instructors, and a queue of kids
Yeah.
waiting behind to have a go for 5 minutes in an hour.
That doesn't sound like business
Not
sense.
as much fun.
No.
Whereas the
Or
auto
fun.
belay, that which isn't the most eye-catching bit of it, then what that did is that meant that people couldn't. Basically, as you climb up, the device at the top retracts the rope, and then when you come down, it lowers you at a regulated speed. So basically, you don't need a human or instructor to get you up and down the wall.
Yes.
So you can have, like us, 25 walls. And you can have at one time 25 people plus a few people waiting and queuing, moving from wall to wall at once. So that really revolutionised kind of fun and popular climbing. They use that for speed climbing the Olympics.
Do you know what? I've got a little note on my phone. It says speed climbing Olympics. I watched that for the first
Incredible,
time.
eh?
So much fun. And I know they've changed it, haven't they? They've split them in. You do all 3 climbs?
Yeah. Well,
no,
when it was in the Olympics 4 years ago,
yes.
It was basically 3 disciplines in one. So you had speed climbing, then you had bouldering, which is like free climbing, and then you've got lead climbing, which is where you basically have a rope and you move it from point to point,
Yes.
so anchor it from point to point as you get up a wall. But the speed climbers, it's a bit like, I think somebody use the analogy, it's a bit like getting Usain Bolt to 100, and then him getting the 100 meters, obviously the fastest man in the world, but then also giving him a medal based on how he does at the marathon.
Yes.
So it's completely two different
Isn't it crazy? It's really good fun, isn't it?
Whereas this year, what they've done is speed climbing. It's its own medal,
Correct.
And then the 2 other disciplines that was one the British guy, Toby Roberts. He won gold in that. But that's more of that's 2 different types of climbing skills. So and it worked a treat. I mean, it's I don't think all sports work. New sports work in the Olympics. Debatable whether breakdancing was the right sort of thing, but climbing works a treat because it's the pinnacle of sort of sporting excellence,
Yes.
and really something that people really take. The viewer, watchers takes their breath away, and real high skill. So. And fantastic that Team GB won a gold in it, and what I think was the most. Speed climbing got the kind of that's got the faster speed, but the actual stuff that he was doing on the walls was incredible. So,
amazing. I want to. We're going to start from the beginning. So what I would like to know is how you got into a climbing business, but
Sure.
we're not going to start there. What were you like at school?
At school, I think I was. I grew up in Devon, southwest. So in the sort of the 80s. So I can only remember a very happy childhood.
That's good.
I was pretty sort of relatively academic at school, but fun loving as well. So and I really can't remember being stressed or anything at school during my teenage years and before. Pretty sporty.
I was going to say you're fun loving now, but you've probably got elements of stress within the business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of different. But okay, that's cool. And what did your parents do?
So my mum was a housewife, but my dad always had his own business.
Okay.
So and I'd say very much my sort of ambition and interest in business came from him.
So what industry was he in?
So he was in household textiles. So
Okay.
very different to what I am. So towels and bed sheets. So not
Towels
that,
and bed sheets.
And he was and he did a few. I mean, he did a few things. He was actually a fair bit. He's passed away now. He's a fair bit older than my mum.
Yeah.
He was 52 when I was born. So he'd had businesses before, but the business we had when I was growing up, he was an agent for Turkish textile business.
So would he sit around I always think about this. Would you sit around the table and he'd start talking about the business, or you'd overhear it, and would he tell you because he was guiding you, or was he just talking openly about at work today at the business?
I mean, his sort of he absolutely loved business. It was his he passed away about 12 years ago, so pre-podcast, but he absolutely loved kind of listening to talking about business and finding out about it. So I guess to get your business knowledge pre-podcast, you'd have to buy the 12 packs of cassettes with different
cassettes, CDs.
Yeah, so he was always I think he subscribed to those and always.
So he did do that.
Yeah, no, he loved it.
I love that.
Yeah, so some of the he sort of got me listening to various ones.
Do you remember any of them?
Yeah, I mean one. I think it's an absolute cracker. The E-Myth.
I've read the book. It's quite a hard read, but it's a better listen.
Good listen.
Yeah.
He's got I put it on 1.25 speed, perfect speed to get through that.
Yeah.
But that's just a fundamental thing about business. It's basically the entrepreneurial myth where rather than most business owners, what they're doing really is they're spending time on the business, just doing the grind, and they're not spending time kind of, I guess, thinking about it and sort of on they're in the business, not on it. So on it is working how to improve
the producer
it.
Chris just turned an eye there. It's like he wants to know more about that too, isn't it? Growing business, isn't it? So did you listen to a lot of podcasts as they came out as podcasts, but back in sort of when they were getting cool? And
well, I mean, I'd sort of listened to yes, I mean, I did listen to a fair amount of those tapes actually. Despite after the point, you have a certain amount of parental whatever they say you try not to do.
Yeah.
But I did. That got an interest. I mean, I guess since probably when I set up this business, the climbing business 8 years ago, I sort of subscribed to audio books. I listened to those, but actually, the last few years, much more into podcasts. I love them. I think they're great.
So from school, you had an interest in business from your dad. Did you go to college or university?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, in terms of kind of little sort of jobs and stuff, I mean, the first kind of I did a couple of businesses pre sort of college and so uni.
What did you do?
I first thing I did was ran a nightclub event. So that was rented a nightclub. It was the age where you had to roughly look 18 and you could hire out a nightclub down in Devon. So I did that, and got loads of again not necessarily 18-year-olds to come along, and made enough money to travel around Europe for the summer. So that was a cracker.
That's super random. You got a nightclub in Devon. You thought, hang on a minute, I'm going to do a theme night, make money on the tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, do you remember how much you had to pay for the nightclub?
Yeah,
do you remember how much tickets were?
I think it was probably £100 to rent the nightclub.
£200.
And then they'd get all
money.
but then they'd get all the bar takings, and then we charged £3 or £4 for a ticket.
Okay.
So my friend and I made, I think, £250 each.
Fantastic.
So
and then you went travelling.
I went travelling for that, interrailing around Europe with a couple of friends. That was a kind of good experience.
And
in
then
terms
did you do it again? Did you repeat?
What did I do next? I ran a market stall, so I had that for a little bit, selling kind of mugs and novelty china stuff, a bit like the one outside.
So you're telling me you bought some product?
Yeah.
Put a price on it.
Yeah.
Stood there and just sold.
Yeah, I went round in my little car and around the markets around Devon and sold them. Sometimes made a lot of money. Other times, if it rained, you wouldn't even cover the cost of your pitch. Yeah. So that was a bit of that was something freezing. But absolutely loved it. Great. And they were great skills to be able to get in terms of business.
Where did you? I also worked on the market, so I completely understand that you just get that people skills.
Yeah.
I used to sell sponges, but it weren't my business. So I worked for Neil. His glasses were about 3 inches thick. He goes, see me set the stall up. I'll do it before school, and go to school, come back and clear up. My mates all worked on clothing, it took about 3 hours, so I would go help them get paid again. And the skills you get from it, and just being up before school and sort of discipline, I think you do learn that, even if you don't think you're learning at the time. Where did you store the mugs? Where were they?
Just in my garage.
Okay, just in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was the next business? What was the next venture?
So what else did I do? At uni, I bought and sold sports clothing. So I did a bit of that. So I found a kind of, I guess it's kind of wholesaler that you could buy a bag, bags of clothes, Calvin Klein polos and Umbro tracksuits. That was all the rage at uni in Lancaster. So
and were you studying sport? What was your...
No, I did at university. I went to Lancaster. So that was in the northwest. I did advertising and marketing. Was my degree.
Interesting.
So that's what I kind of thought, I'll get into. And then after university, moved to London. I met my wife Beth, who's also my business partner.
There you go. Shout out to Beth.
Yeah, very much big shout to her. So we met at Lancaster. Moved to London. I got a job working in sales promotion agencies. So I worked for 2 of those. And then, I think actually you were saying about the early life, I think one thing I didn't do, which was probably, and I hope my girls are more likely to do this, I didn't really have any formal part-time jobs. So actually I'd say the first job I got, I actually really struggled to, I think just know the kind of workings of a business, that kind of, and, I was very gregarious with my peer group, my own age, but actually people of a different age and in a work environment, I struggled. So
was that communication-wise?
Yeah, that and just getting things done. I mean, if you're in sort of marketing agency, it's all about organising other people. I really struggled with that. I could organise myself with my own studies, no problem. Have a market stall, I can organise myself there. But it was just
so
me.
actually, there's a skill to be learned is to go out and get a job.
I think so.
You can sort of work out what that looks like. So if you're in a shop, whether you're in a restaurant, whether you're in an office environment, if you're a builder, go and get some skills that will kind of round you up a little bit.
I think so, because I think about the guys who work for us. We've got probably over the 2 climbing centres plus the other business. We talk about laser tag. Probably employ about over 80 people.
Wow.
Majority of those are sixth form students with their first jobs.
Yes.
Such a good. I would slightly biased about us, but I think where we are, it's one of the best part-time jobs I can think you can get, because you're dealing with different age groups. You know, your peer. Your peers are different ages, different backgrounds. You're dealing with the public. You're dealing with parents. To actually speak to an adult, converse with them.
Do people talk to people anymore? It's like people
they
don't want to talk to anyone, do they? So
it's a skill, isn't it? It's very much a skill. So I think that is seriously important, and just the discipline of being there on time. If your shift starts at 9, you need to be there if you're a climbing instructor, climbing on the arena with your harness on, ready to go at 9 o'clock. You can't waltz in at 5 past 9. So those sort of things are really are great to do. So I'd encourage young people, my girls, my 15-year-old's just applying for work experience at the moment, but she's really keen to get a job, part-time job. Good. So I really encourage that.
So you worked in London, marketing and advertising.
Yeah, so I did that for. I mean, actually, I only lasted 6 months in my first job, and I got sacked.
You got sacked.
So,
Why did you get sacked?
And it was more for nothing too sinister. It was just more I think they were.
Answer the question, Chris. Why did you get sacked?
No, it was actually just didn't pass my probation. So
we need to dig deep into this one.
It just basically I think I struggled to my job was getting marketing promotions off the ground, and I just couldn't get my head round. Say it started with getting the design done, then the printer, then the fulfillment, all the parts of a promotion. I struggled to find out if somebody was late. I couldn't get that organised. The next bit in the chain would be delayed. So it was about organisation skills and people skills. I was organised in terms of myself. When I was doing work on my own, like my own studies, revision, no problem there at all. But when it came to other people, I struggled with that.
That's interesting.
So that really kind of taught me a big lesson there, because I was very career driven, excited to get jobs, and I just struggled with that job. So I think they weren't probably the most supportive of companies. I was fresh out of uni, but at the same time you employ people to do a job, so no problems on that front.
So where did you go next?
So I went. I was pretty good at getting jobs, so I got another. Somehow brushed over the fact that I'd been asked to leave, and I got another job in a similar agency. I said I was off a place that was more creative, so they like that one.
And did you change your skill, or did you try and learn from your mistakes?
Yeah, I got the Dummy's Guide to Time Management. So I got a.
Did you? What, the book?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to get.
Let me tell you a story. So I got a book from the library once, and it was on time management. Guess what? I took it back late. I literally took the book back late, and I said to her, she went, you need to give us 75p. I was like, I was so gutted. But that's just a little story. So
the irony
I'm with you. The irony, yes.
Exactly.
So you
got better in the second job. But actually, what I sort of it just didn't quite sit right. And what I actually ended up getting into, which I would classify my kind of skill, is I got a job in sales, software sales.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of started, doing well there.
And did you do well because you were driven by the cash, the money?
No, not at all. Actually,
it wasn't a driver for you.
It was a software kind of online. It was it wasn't even called cloud, but basically the equivalent of a cloud software. It was processing staff expenses, travel expenses. Okay. Rather than doing it on paper, you could do it over the web on this system. But it was just something I kind of got excited by. The fact it was this kind of .com, that was the name at the time, business. I actually could see the benefit. I didn't really know much about finance, but I could see the benefit for companies, and I just enjoyed that process. And it was a startup, so there wasn't huge amounts of money, and it was quite tough to actually get businesses to move systems.
Well, I was going to say to you, so what is the process? So are you ringing them? Are you knocking on their door? Are you sending them a letter?
Yeah, almost all from cold calling.
Okay.
And the thing that worked well was that you kind of build little niches with a story. So we'd get, say, alcoholic drinks brand who had reps all over the world with travel expenses, it would take them, highly, very, very valuable to the business. They might take them a couple of days a month to put their travel expenses in. So instantly, if we could say you could save a lot of time and effort for them by using this online system, they loved that. So I had a niche to go into all the different alcoholic beverage companies and say, look, we've got this system.
So rather than scattergun every industry, why did it come to the alcoholic drinks? Was
Because I got to go on my first plane on the plane trip for business up to Scotland to see a whiskey company. So that stuck in the brain. But other ones like I think my first sale was to EMI Records. So that was quite cool.
Oh wow, amazing.
And then I just enjoyed generally that process where sometimes we get inquiries and you could sometimes get a sale with very little work, but other times you have to chase, make a lot of cold calls.
Do you remember your ratio? Because I did some telesales and it is laborious and it's no, and actually from that the call before, you kind of change tactic and then you use something for the next call, and then you're like, when they say yes, you're like, oh, well, what did I do? Yeah. Because of the yes, and then how do I mirror that call that person? So,
I remember very well because it became my first business. So
there you go.
I'd basically do probably in a day, something like in the morning I'd do cold calls to and basically researching. So I'd call up finance companies, find out how many expenses they process. Was it abroad? What sort of these kind of factors, and that would give me whether they were a kind of a hot sort of a gold
research.
Lead. Research, yeah. Yes. And then if they passed that test, I'll get the name of the finance director, speak to them, that would be my afternoon, the pitching. So I'd be getting lead. So it'd be like a lead would be my kind of research lead, and my next step would be getting a meeting with them, and or a telephone demo, depending what the size they were.
So here's a top tip, I think. So PA, secretary, receptionist, usually the gatekeeper. How did you get past them? Because it was probably before LinkedIn.
It was. Yeah, I mean,
so then how do you approach? How do you get to that?
My line was, can I speak to accounts payable, please?
Accounts payable.
Yeah, which sounds like you're potentially a slightly grumpy creditor.
Yeah.
That would.
And then they go, I'll pass you through to John. So now you've got John.
And they go, what's it about? Oh, it's an accounts payable query. So there's a kind of a little bit of an art there, wasn't there? So, but that gave me the idea for the first business. So I was two of us in the sales team. Yep. They employed a couple more, and they made me sales manager of that. So, and most of the business came from this cold calling. But the three guys who worked with me hated doing it. Right. And I actually enjoyed it because right? I don't like the thought of a lot of cold calling would worry me, but I like the process. I believe in the product. I like the fact I could filter stuff out, and you get lots of hits. For me, I get, in a day, I might get 5 or 6 researched companies. Yeah. I might get 1 or 2 meetings, and then also the rest of my time I go and meet with them and close them.
So you would cold call to send yourself out to the meeting. Yeah. So actually, when you do get a client, that's a buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
They always say, don't they? If you've done a sale, do some more quick calls because you're on a vibration. No, the next one's going to say yes.
Yeah, but you got. I mean, the big hit is getting the deal signed. But before that, you get lots of mini hits of some research records. Good. Then you get a meeting. That's a buzz. And then you get the you get the sale, which is the biggest buzz. But at the same time,
and then do you? Sorry to interrupt. Do you then go right? John from X has just signed up, so we'd call you from Y. Oh, if he's got it or she's got it, we want it.
There's a certain amount. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I say these different niches. You get it. You develop a story that people can relate to. So, but that gave me the idea for the first business I set up. So that's just over 20 years ago.
So what was the business called?
So it's called Prospect Research. Okay. So it was a telemarketing business. Wow. So I figured that people, salespeople hate to do the cold calling because they want to get the hits of either meeting people or the
warm lead.
Yeah, the warm lead or the sale. So the guys that worked with me didn't really want to do it and didn't do as much as I did. Whereas I actually, I thought,
So did you hand your notice in, or did you start on the side while you were working?
I sort of did a bit of both. I kind of researched it to the point I was happy to set it up. Yeah. And then I had a meeting I got on very well with the owners. I sort of had a meeting with them and just said, blurted out pretty quickly, I'm going to leave to set my own business. Would you like to be my first client? Wow. Because my idea was that I figured out we all spent a quarter of our time doing cold calling. Yep. If I did the cold calling for the 3 of the guys, they could have all their time doing the stuff they liked.
Love that. So did they say yes?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
And how do you work? Did you do this from home? Did you go to an office? And how did you know what to charge them?
So I did it from home. So completely different business to the climbing business I've since set up. It cost me probably less than £1,000, laptop and a phone.
Yeah.
And so I left. So it was, I think, 4th of February 2004. I set it up.
You know the dates.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had the 20th anniversary of it this year.
Yeah.
I actually went to work on the Monday as an employee, and on the Tuesday I went back. Started the business.
Were you scared? Were you nervous? Were you excited? There's probably lots of feelings in there. How did you feel when you were like, do you know what? I think I can do this. How did you feel?
When I said to the employees or
when
employers?
You knew you were going to do it, and that first day of your own business, how did you feel?
I guess it was very weird because it was essentially doing what I was doing before, so just working for myself. Nerve wracking. I would say with that business, I probably got more nervous the sort of doing the calling, the telemarketing for the next client or the next few clients, because actually really my sales career I'd only done telemarketing for this online finance software company.
And did you have some savings? Did you have something to back up?
A little bit. My dad gave me a few £1,000s to keep me going, and kind of almost if it hadn't worked, I knew I had 6 months in the bank to
was
fall
that
back
before
on.
you left? So did you have that?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
before
you had a buffer.
But he would. He said, look, he was very, very pro me setting it up.
If there was no buffer, do you think you would have still done it at that stage?
I think, the thing, it's different ages. At the time I was very, very 24, 25, so pretty young to set up a business. But that's not a bad time either. There's never a good time, never a bad time. Good thing there is, Beth and I had our own flat in London, but pretty low, relatively low overheads, no kids, relatively sort of frugal lifestyle in the scheme of things. Certainly something we couldn't cut back on if needed. So that is not a bad time to start.
Did Beth encourage you?
Yeah, she was keen.
That's good.
Yeah, she was keen. Because I think I always knew that was something I wanted to do.
Yes.
And it was a low risk business, because if it hadn't gone right, I could have gone. Probably, in fact, they did ask me, would I like to go back and be sales director?
A double buff.
But the old company. But I was happy with doing what I was doing. That was a low risk business really, and I could sort of start off small and grow it.
So before we talk about the business that you run now, how well did it do? How long did you do it for?
Yeah, we had it for 14 years.
Yes.
So I had a year in London, and then I kind of messing around trying to get employees. Just didn't quite work out. So, and we kind of, Beth and I, been married for about a year. We just decided, kept being wooed by Cambridge whenever we went there. We had a few friends, always lovely weather, beautiful city, and we thought, if we ever moved out of London, we might fancy Cambridge. And we just thought, we didn't have any ties to that business. So down in London, it was either stay there. We were in Leytonstone, David Beckham's birthplace.
Yes. E17 as well, isn't it?
They were next door in Walthamstow.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice part of the world. But we thought, to kind of have a family, kind of long term, maybe not settled roots business wise in London. So we like Cambridge, simply the fact that beautiful city, and a bit like Milton Keynes, near enough to London. To be connected, but at the same time had its own identity. So it's not like the Milton Keynes. It's beautiful there. It's so cool, and there's beautiful city.
Around. It's just lovely. It's
a lot. Yeah, it's a really beautiful. I'm still kind of in awe of the place. I do really love it. And so set it up. 2005 moved up and started. Again, difficult to get employees.
So what did you do? Did you close that business and start
again,
or you just carried on over
business?
In Cambridge?
So got an office. Sent it in the centre of town, and then got a couple of employees. Bit of struggles getting them up and running, and built the client base. And it was really how to get clients. It was all business to business telemarketing was what I was offering, and a lot of that early stuff came from contacts and networking, really.
Huge power of networking.
There's people, and referrals. I think my second client was my uncle, another, I guess, sort of inspiration business-wise, had a very successful skip business in the Midlands, and he introduced me to one of his old competitors who had set up an air conditioning business. Okay. And they became a client. A friend of mine from uni, Rachel, became marketing manager for a health insurance company. I got a gig to do. That was a pretty big contract, actually.
So if you've got a choice of being a nice person or a dick, it's not nice to be nice, isn't it? Because if you're a nice person,
very much so,
then you just don't know, do you? And I read something this morning saying that these younger people you meet as you go up in business, they may be the decision makers that are going to help your business, and if you're nice to them and you can provide a service,
no, it's true.
They're going to work with you, aren't they?
I've done a couple of talks to schools before, and I've got a couple of photos really nice. Well, actually, the night I met my wife Beth, it was a Christmas do for our college. Black tie thing, and the photo of it. There's about 10 of us or 15 friends. About 3 of them, 4 of them have helped me. Sort of had, and it's not like we went to some real sort of upscale Oxbridge University college where everybody loaded and hugely connected. Just not sort of normal, middle class people, but not. But just they've been out in the world, and I've had some lovely connections from them. We've helped each other out, and not that they were doing similar things, same course, different sort of careers, but just contacts have helped.
So natural progression, have a telesales company, and then open up a climbing wall business. So what happened? That is super random.
Well, I think I'd been running the telemarketing company for 12 years. Pretty successful. We got it up to I think about 20 staff.
Oh, amazing.
Real variety of different industries. But I think it's some real unusual niches like universities and colleges. They're promoting their services for business. That became quite a big thing. Government departments, construction. But I think what I sort of probably found, I was always trying to find. I think the challenge was every client was different, so you could never really replicate it. That's actually going back to the E-Myth. It's about it's basically McDonald's type thing. You could know with the telemarketing, every client's different, so you couldn't replicate that. You'd have to learn. It's like starting a new business every time.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the thing that slightly frustrated me was that you get a client. I'm a pretty honest guy. I want to be genuine with what I'm doing. I couldn't tell for sure with the client whether they'd have a great experience with us, it would work or not. And I think I just that slightly ground me down after a while.
Yeah,
it's like and I would temper it by saying to new clients, look, it often doesn't work. In fact, most inquiries would turn away because we think it's not going to work. So actually, that helps, but at the same time, it's a little bit demoralising. You put a lot of work into it, and it just doesn't work. Telemarketing is hit or miss,
isn't it?
Very much so.
Did you sell the business, or did you?
We did, yeah, we did. So. We actually for about a year we had both businesses. So saying Beth, completely different background to me. She's a classically trained musician or singer and pianist. So she worked for kind of music charities, and then when we moved to Cambridge, worked for Cambridge University. But she joined the business I think 12 years ago, partly to kind of do marketing for us, but also market research. So music charity job was based on research, so we had a market research wing as well.
Yes.
So I was kind of relatively happy with the business. It was doing fine. 20, not always 20 staff. Sometimes they were 15 full time, and then part timers as well.
Can I ask, was there a turnover number that you peaked at?
I think it was about 700,000.
Okay. And did you learn a lot when you sold it? Because a lot of people I know that sell their business, it's quite a lot of effort to sell the business, because whoever's buying it wants to know every single detail. Yeah.
Well, we sold it to one of the senior managers, actually.
Okay.
So we got a decent amount for it, but not kind of not life changing, but certainly enough to say. Yeah,
well, they win. They get a business.
Yeah, exactly. They did. Yeah. Exactly.
You're happy knowing that they can hopefully drive it. Are they still doing the business?
They're still in that same industry, but the business isn't going anymore because crikey, when we sold it 2017 or 2018. Pre-COVID, I think over COVID, what a battering! Imagine. I can't imagine if you're a business that relies on people being at their desk,
at their office. Yeah.
I think about that almost every week. Thank goodness I'm not in that world now.
So
you'd have to adapt.
You were quite lucky in that sense.
I think you'd adapt. The business wasn't just about being on the phone; it's about making business connections, getting leads. The name prospect research, you're researching prospects. But I think I was kind of, so I was kind of relatively happy with it, but I could never kind of get it beyond a certain point, and it was, and I was, when I had grand plans for it, I forgot the fact that you said this in your marketing business, you do lose clients sometimes.
Do you know what? It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
But they do come around, and there's different people and opportunities to just. You get a text message or WhatsApp, you get an email. Like, well, where did that come from?
No, you're very, very right. But for our particular one, because I just didn't know when we'd do a trial. I didn't know for sure if it would work or not. It was a lot of getting new business and losing business, so it kind of often just stood still, really. So I was kind of, I guess the brain was open, but nothing, compared to, I'll tell you about the climbing business now.
Yeah.
Not planning of it, but about 2000, so 10 years, 2005. 2015, sorry.
15.
15. I was on the just holiday Devon, Exeter, where I grew up, and my 5-year-old daughter, now 10, Kate. It was a rainy day, and just looking for things on TripAdvisor to do, and saw this funky-looking climbing centre very near the nightclub that I rented out.
£100.
Those type, £100, yeah. And I'd actually wanted to take Kate climbing. She was only 5, so you think, oh, that'd be a cool thing to do. Nowhere in Cambridge to do that. So I took her to this climbing centre called Clip and Climb in Exeter, and it's basically the same walls that we've got, funky walls, and they're seeing this little 5-year-old, start off nervous and growing confidence over the hour. But actually at the time I was quite scared of heights.
Yeah, isn't it?
So actually, seeing your child do something that you're scared of and do it basically better than you would do, was really sort of electrifying to see.
It's quite interesting. We had Ellis, the owner of the Riverside Hub.
Yeah, I listened to it
last week. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago?
Really good pod.
And the reason him and his wife started a business because they had a child.
Yeah.
And they thought they could do something better in their area. So you've got a very similar story.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I really enjoyed listening to Alice actually,
great,
and yeah, great pod.
Cheers,
but
please.
it was, but it just, So seeing my daughter kind of get this confidence over an hour was really, it was really electrifying.
So then you started doing research.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I also looked around and saw 30 other people climbing, also having that experience. And I thought,
so did you? Sorry to interrupt. So was your brain going, hang on, if we've got 30 people at this price, what would that look like if we had 80% capacity? Is that how you work?
It wasn't quite that much, but there was something that the seed that got planted. The next day I went back in and got their flyer, just to sort of see what was it. But I just thought, and I think the other thing is that for the telemarketing business, it was a business that people had to do. It didn't give the client joy to pay me money to do what we were doing. They had to do it.
Yes.
And I fancied a business that put a smile on people's faces. Yeah. And also I thought that majority of people would come in and have a good time. I could guarantee them a good time. Yes. So I was thinking, do you know what? I would fancy that. And in Cambridge, there wasn't a huge amount of stuff for kids to do. So I kind of got the bug to do it. So then I started researching.
So what do you do first? So I said this to Ellis. Okay, you've got something that works in another city or town. Bring it over to where you live. Where do you start? Like, what's the first thing you do?
First of all, I had to start keeping running the telemarketing business because that was obviously still paying the bills.
Yes.
But it was a pleasure to do. So, researching anything to do with leisure is quite fun. So, first of all, did research into other centres. Yeah. So I found out it's manufactured in the sort of Lancashire, Yorkshire borders.
Oh, it's from the UK.
It's a company called Entreprise. They're the world's biggest climber wall manufacturer. They'd bought I was mentioning about the Northern Irish guy in New Zealand. Yes. They bought that the auto belays, the Clip and Climb brand. And so I met with them, found out how it worked. They got me to organise trips for me to go and see about 4 or 5 different climbing centres.
Which is
use
fun,
the
right?
Brilliant, yeah, I loved it.
I
did a 2 days worth of work experience down in Exeter. I was there on the floor, and one of my mates from school was there with his kids, and he didn't know I was down there, so I almost gave him a heart attack. I saw another guy I knew on the speed wall, that Olympic one, going crazy on it, trying to beat his time, and I loved it. And that was great, seeing it, that kind of made me think, this is good. Then I went to about 3 or 4 others. There was one on Bournemouth Pier. Okay. Really good to have a look there. They're giving me a free go on their zip wire down to the beach. So that was fun.
So is this a franchise?
So long story after that, other things happened, but we opened up the Cambridge site in 2016 as Clip and Climb, and that's the brand name. Yes. So it's not quite a franchise. It's more of a kind of a light you can operate under license. Yes. They do franchise it now. The manufacturers. Because
this morning I was like, I'm sure it's got a different name, and I think that's why it was confusing me, because Cambridge is a different name.
Yeah, you're right. So I'll come to why that was, but in terms of going back to how we set it up, so there's the research there about was it just fluky as a wet August day in Exeter and it was busy, and it's dead the whole time. So when I went back, the when I did that work experience in the October that year, it was busy again. So I thought that's cool on that front. Went to several others. A couple weren't so busy, but you maybe to do with location. Went to one that was really one that I remember well in Chelsea in London. They got they showed me the signs of David Beckham and Brad Pitt and who else?
You like
Frank
Beckham?
Lampard.
Beckham's come up twice.
Yeah,
now.
I know too. Yeah, exactly.
Tune in, David.
Yeah, exactly. But they'd all signed the bottom of the slide.
Yeah, great.
So I just thought, this is cool. the same time, what I was doing was researching the market, doing my business plan. Big thing for Cambridge was trying to find premises.
Yeah, of course.
Because the climbing centres and any leisure business is quite difficult to find space. In Cambridge, almost nigh impossible. You need somewhere that's at least 6 metres high. You need parking. You need a landlord to prepare to take a punt on a new business.
Change of use as well.
Change of use.
Yeah.
So that was really tricky, actually. I was actually looked at St Neots. As I kind of and a couple of other towns. I'd kind of given up in Cambridge, but massive luck. I should tell you, I kind of Beth and I went on a trip to Rome. There's a Trevi fountain where you throw your coin and you make a wish. So my wish was very, very dull, but in the scheme of things, I'd love to find a business property for my climbing centre. and what do you know? The next week,
7 days.
Next week, the perfect place in Cambridge. It was a gym that had gone bust, so it had the right usage.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Jim. Yeah, personal training gym. It had gone bust, and so it had the right usage. And again, going back to a contact, I mentioned that photo from uni. One of my friends, Bill, had worked for the property, James Lang LaSalle, who were the marketing agents for it.
Wow.
So I was a new business, but at the same time, he didn't work anymore. But he could say, "Here," and I think my cousin's a good friend of his worked for the surveyors who also marketed in Cambridge. So again, a little bit of Chris isn't a complete tool. He might be able to make it successful.
He is a tool, but he's not a complete tool.
Exactly. You've got maybe they said that. Yeah.
Do you you mentioned about you put it out really to the universe.
Yeah.
So please throw the coin in there. I need this opportunity to do that. During your learnings and at uni and reading books and podcasts, has that been something in your life? And do you believe in stuff like that?
What, luck or
luck and sort of throwing it out to the universe?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I do. I think in terms of you do ultimately you're making your own luck, but there is a certain amount. I mean, I think anybody in business, you have. I think you've got good fortune, which is kind of the universe, or bad fortune,
yes.
And then you've got luck, which I think is more you make your own luck. I think the business I was in before, the telemarketing business, that is all about making your own luck.
Oh, you can't sit there waiting for a call because you've got to make the call, haven't you?
But is luck whether you get hold of somebody who's in the market and interested to listen.
100%.
I think there's been lots of things in my business career that's been good, very good luck, and some bad luck as well. So the whole thing. But you've got to, it is about focusing on what you can do and to make your own luck.
So you found a warehouse.
Found a warehouse.
Got to kit it out.
Yeah,
that's a big thing. So that you've got these suppliers already. So that's already a thing.
Got the suppliers for so the climbing manufacturers, and then actually going back, this is about networking. Every other supplier we use were people that I've known for over 10 years.
Amazing.
Even the builder was, I asked the IT company that we still use to this day, almost 20 years down the line, do you know any builders? And one of our account managers was this little 18-year-old at the time, and then he'd grown up almost 10 years, and he's now has a building company, Matt.
Wow,
so he built our climbing centre. He's built he built Milton Keynes. He's just built our laser tag arena for our new business. So he was a very good supplier.
That's amazing. So you've got the space. You can build it. You've got someone that knows how the health and safety stuff. That must be. Is it quite hard red tape to open something?
That's the reassuring thing by working with it's the world's biggest climbing manufacturer, and they had run the Exeter site. They ran that themselves. Other centres. So there's a blueprint of doing that already. We also used contract with the health and safety advisor as well.
Yeah.
That's more actually for the non-technical side of it. The non-arena side. So that's ultimately in the business we're in, that's the most important thing to do, safety. But if you do it in an organised fashion, and the way this particular activity is, it is low risk. Those auto beelines I mentioned make it extremely completely safe, and we've not had a serious accident in the business. I can go away for a weekend or a holiday knowing that I'm going to come back and there's not, and I would hate to have a business that was that was likely to happen. Maybe these things do, adventurous activities, you have to accept a certain amount of risk, but I would personally not sit comfortably knowing that there was a good chance I'd come back with broken limbs to deal with somebody who's come to our place.
Talking about risk, how much does it cost to set that sort of business up? And did you use your own money? And if you didn't use all your own money, How do you get funding for that?
Okay.
So all the listeners will I want to know this.
Yeah. No,
because if you look at a number, you go, oh, wow, it's going to cost you that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's complete. You couldn't think of a different business to the telemarketing business, £1,000. This probably the Cambridge site cost £500,000 to set up.
Okay.
That mostly came from banks. The bank. The actual kit itself you can lease. It's a lease purchase. And then after 3 years of paying off a lot of money every month, it's yours.
So based on you've got a business, had you sold your business by then?
No.
So you had an income coming in.
So
did they score you in a sense of saying, well, actually, this guy's good. We will lend on a good business plan.
I mean, again, that's going back to contacts. We've been with NatWest Bank for, again, almost 20 years. Our accountant at the time introduced us to his contact, who became our bank manager. Yeah. In the telemarketing business, didn't need much banking, really. It wasn't a high sort of loan requirement type business, but we always met with the bank manager every year, gave him our accounts, formed that relationship, and so we had some credibility when we came to actually wanting to have this new business. And actually, I met with our individual bank managers changed since, but his sort of regional director, I know still, I meet up every so often. The regional director came along with my bank manager, because it's like, hang on, my client Chris is thinking about running a crazy climbing centre. He was telling me, I saw him a couple of weeks ago, he remembers taking his boss, because they were doing a tour around different prospective clients for loans. I thought, we'll take them to this guy, the Walthews, about this climbing centre.
With the socks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at the time, the funky socks.
Funky socks.
They got this climbing centre idea, and he said he thought it was a bit mad, but he listened to what I was saying about it, and he thought, do you know what, this has got something about it. So they were prepared to lend the money for us to be able to do that.
So how much do they lend you? Because obviously
they lend you the whole lot.
The whole lot.
But you have to guarantee it against your house.
Of course. So that's a massive risk. Right?
It is. Yeah. Now, I didn't think so much at the time.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you more about when it comes to the Milton Keynes side, because that's really brought it home. Our second centre. But you do it with the basis that, I mean, there are certain limits that ultimately your bank doesn't want to take your house away. They will only go up to a certain amount.
Yes.
It is ultimately personally guaranteed. That sort of loan for a lot, for a long time in businesses, you have to have the backing yourself.
So it must have gone well, because you've then gone to Milton Keynes, where we are today, and you've opened up a new one.
Yeah.
And we all know your COVID came. Did you open up before or after COVID?
No, just before. So I listened to your second podcast with Hayley from Scribble.
Oh, you are like a fan.
I know. I do.
We had a fan. This is good.
I do. I like listening to them.
Excellent. Thank you.
It was so February 2020. The Cambridge one was really successful. It was very stressful actually to set up. I mean, it sounded very calm. All the research, all the getting up, getting the building done, even employing people. That was right in my experience world. I could do that.
Yeah.
But actually, as soon as we opened the doors, I really struggled with that, because just the pressure of, and I realised that, Christ, I've put my house on the line here. It was the summer holidays, and most of the time, what I forgot was I only remembered that first summer of it being empty.
Wow, it was hot. Was it a hot summer?
No. It was just the times when it was empty and they had a load of, had 15 staff hanging around.
Wow.
Forgot the fact that most of the time it was absolutely rammed. And actually, I'm not very good at finance, so I thought to myself, I'll set up the 0 in 5 minutes, and I couldn't. So basically, I had a load of paper in my rucksack, not knowing how much money I was making. With Beth, she stuck and ran the telemarketing company, and I kind of naively thought, well, we work so well together, we could just have these two businesses. The marketing company ran well. She can run the marketing company, no problem, and I'll do this new business. But I kind of forgot how well we work together, so we very much complement each other. So she can do the organising, getting things done. I'm pretty good at the ideas, or relatively good at coming up with them. Whether they're good or not, debatable. And some other stuff I'm okay at doing. But without her, I really, really struggled actually.
So teamwork's important, isn't it?
Massively,
having the right people to do the right job.
Yeah, and also it was I think 20 new staff I didn't know. I was putting my sort of life savings and reputation with these new people. So it was very, very stressful setting it up. That being said, that August, it was my most successful financially month that I've ever had in business up to then.
Yes.
So, but I didn't know it because I didn't have my accounts in order. So I was very, very stressful, and it took that was stressful on that front to get it up and running. But it was successful, and as it got settled in, you could look back and it was it only took a couple of weeks and it was pretty much sold out. on a rainy day, and it kind of spanned from there.
So how important is an accountant or a bookkeeper? Because you're running this thing, and I think people fall into this trap where, oh look, there's people around. Like I'm looking out here in the Midsummer place today, and it looks busy.
Yeah.
They're not all buying something from Zara.
Yeah.
They're not all at Wingstop. How long did it take to get to grips with actually?
Probably about probably 3 or 4 months, which is 3 or 4 months too late, because you just you just need to know your figures, because I don't naturally gravitate towards financial figures, but when I get myself stuck in the mood, I can get into them, but actually putting them together, it was like Greek, for me to be. So actually, we had a office manager for our marketing company who basically got seconded in to do that. We had a marketing apprentice who was working for us, or intern, who got sort of seconded to helping there as well. And so we got the books in order, and it was going well. And still is. It was really popular. It's maintained that since. And the beauty about it is that things I love. People come in, have a really good time. And the staff, you don't need to have huge experience, people with fancy degrees, long history. It's people almost straight out of college.
I think your staff are great as well. You have to trust them, even though you're saying it's very safe. There is a trust element.
There is, yes.
Listen to me, because this will help you. Milton Keynes open, COVID, it still runs. You've also got a laser business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just quickly tell me about the laser business, because that is very, very different.
Yeah. Well, I guess in terms of the laser side. So but I think from business, what I enjoy most is the ideas and coming. So I'm generally often will be scheming about something to do.
Same. Yeah.
And so with the laser business, it was really something to add an extra element to what we do, something outdoors, something in Cambridge. And so it's a little add-on really. So when it's good weather, we've got something outdoors that people can go to, and then when it's raining, they can go indoors.
I had a coffee with someone yesterday, and we were talking about business, and they were saying for 7 months of the year they were really, really busy in that industry. It was music. For the rest of the year, it was a loss leader. So what they did is they approached Adidas actually, and they could turn around some clothing quicker than they could even turn around clothing.
Okay.
So they wanted to fill that gap, and they went from 5 million to 12 million. So it's similar to you. You've got this business that if it's sunny and hot, potentially the climbing business slows down. Yeah. Whereas the outside stuff.
Yeah, that's the idea
for
it. So it's early, that opened in May, so we're just seeing how that goes. It's gone pretty well so far, but I think still the focus is getting the climbing businesses. You're saying about when we opened before, it was a few weeks before COVID. Decided for a second site, Milton Keynes, great location, only an hour away from Cambridge, so far enough away not to cannibalise our Cambridge business. And it's such a fast-growing, dynamic city. So we opened the launch was brilliant. February half term 2020, absolutely cracking. We're ahead of target, and it was just it was like lots of all these sort of businesses. It was shut down, and so we've got. It's been a real journey getting that getting Milton Keynes established.
Did you get support from the government?
Yeah, I mean we got. To be fair, whatever you thought what the government did, I think overall as a business we were supported pretty nicely. Things like, and it just came in drips. So you got the business rate support, and then furlough came.
Furlough, God, I haven't heard furlough for years.
There were a few grants. So without that, it would have been toast, and so many British businesses would have. So that kept us going. But it's been tough afterwards, because I think a lot of businesses, say leisure and hospitality, you rely on momentum. So we had that great boost, and then you close. People don't talk about it. It was there, and then it opens again. And 2020, 21 was up. Open, close. And even since, I think. This is just to share. We were saying about luck. We actually had a clause in our insurance policy that gave us business interruption cover. Oh, wow. So we actually got paid. Probably our Beth and I's most financially successful year in business was the COVID year, because we got paid the profit would have got for 2 centres we projected. I I don't know exact, but I think maybe only 5% of businesses would have that cover.
It went to the paperwork.
It went to the High Court about the judgment, and that came in through beginning of 2021. And we would have been, I think, again, very, very difficult situation if that hadn't come across. So that's been, invaluable really, because financially what's been hard is probably 2022 was the hardest year. Inflation, everything that happened there. I mean, that's a double whammy, because people are feeling the pinch in their pocket in terms of families wanting to spend. They'll prioritise their kids, but only to a certain amount in terms of having fun. And then prices going up. I mean, things like MK, our electricity bill went from 10 grand, almost one of those costs that you just forget about, to 30. I mean, it was outrageous. So very, very, very tough. And so but the sort of things that you just have to dig deep and try a lot of focus on what you can control. Just do what you can to get through, and break things up into little chunks about what you can do to make improvements.
Amazing. So you've got 2 climbing centres. You've got some outdoor activity. What is there any more? What's the plan? Do these well? Carry on doing well, or is there a bigger picture?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of. Ideally for me, I'd love every couple of years have a new idea or a new centre I could put up and running. I love that, really enjoy it. But also I get a lot of pleasure seeing these things grow as well, because I think originally when I set up MK, I thought, well, I have a chain. Well, Beth and I will have a chain of 5 of these, one every year. But actually, I really enjoyed MK getting to know the city a bit more, spending some time to build.
We are a city now.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
Amazing.
exactly. Getting some time to just sort of build that centre up and take enjoyment seeing it grow, because it has so it takes a long time, but it's bit by bit every year. It's got busier, getting better. It's getting more. It's improving.
And just one tip: so if you're someone at school, you're a kid at school, you're not sure what you want to do when you're older, is there a tip that you'd give someone that's like, do you know what? It doesn't matter what your background is.
Yeah.
What should they do? What would you tell someone?
Ooh,
maybe you in your
15. Yeah. No, I tell you what my biggest tip is. I tell people is write stuff down. Yeah, because,
interesting. Why is that?
Because it probably came from one of these business tapes. Actually, I remember when I was 18, I just wrote down a sticky note where I revised. Get top A levels, get advertising marketing degree, job in sales or market or advertising, start own business. Put that on, and it happened. And I just think if you write stuff down, it kind of make a commitment to yourself. You get out of your head. Not only that, you're organised. You never forget stuff.
Organised. You're now organised.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I think I always say that is my top tip. If you write stuff down, you can refer back to it. It's not just a dream or a little thought that goes away. And really, nothing's stopping you writing down anything. If you've got an ambition to do something, put it there, and it just gives you a starting place to say, right, how can I get if I whatever you want to be. If I want to be an astronaut. You write it down, and then it gives you a starting point to say, right, how can I learn about doing that?
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Pleasure, Stephen.
I feel like you're a fan. Like you've been listening to all of them.
I did. I mean, I probably spend about an hour or 2 in the car every day, and I do a lot of running. That's the kind of way I relax and sort of get a bit active. And business podcasts are the main thing I listen to,
great.
apart from K-pop with my daughter. So Christmas K-pop is a thing at the moment. But apart from that, love it. So I thought I'd gem up on your podcast and really enjoy it. I mean, it's I enjoy business. I enjoy hearing how people get their own business set up. You pick up some tips. The one Ellis is one from the Riverside Hub. It's slap bands that he gives out to customers.
Love a slap band.
I've got that as a little tip for us to look at. So really, and then it's just enjoyable seeing how people kind of the challenges they go through and how they grow their business. So.
Good luck in business. Good luck in life. We love your business. We bring our children there as well. They won't go to the top of the slide though. They're still scared, but we will see you soon.
one day. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Hey,
cheers.